Faiz Ashraf ni gimana? Di toilet ke?
Ada. Sekejap. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah maftah alaina hibataka wa syur alaina. اللهم افتح علينا هبتك وانشر علينا من خزائن رحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد نبي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin.
Amin.
Thank
Amin.
you. Asal dia tulis? Oh. Okay. Ni kita week 12 ke 13? Week 13
Week 13 doktor.
Okay, so next week will be your last week will be our last week for our class. Okay, first thing first apa? Oh, just a bit of reminder ni, zaman COVID ni. Apa yang nak cakap? Oh, zaman COVID ni, so you all selain belajar tu, solat jangan tinggal, 5 waktu, kalau rajin buatlah solat-solat sunat rawatib and baca-baca Quran sikit, kalau pagi tu awal sikit rasa solat duha, baca doa. And malam-malam tu kalau stay up malam tu buatlah solat tahajud sikit. Pada hujung-hujung dunia akhir zaman ni, COVID and all those things, a lot of things happening lah. Masa ni lah kita nak kena solat sunat taubat dan sebagainya lah. Okay, so yalah, we don't know kan what happened to our life now. Sekarang kita dah terkurung dah. And then our puasa will be when? Bulan April kan?
Yes, less than 3 months.
Less than 3 months and then bulan 5 dah raya. So I think most probably kita will be terkurung till after raya. What do you think? Sampai macam last time. Remember kita punya tahun lepas kita tak boleh raya kan? Kita raya kat rumah aje.
Betul.
So I guess this time round sebab kita punya COVID pun is increasing. Worse than last year, so I guess kita jaga diri kita, bukan kita jaga kita, nampaknya kita kena minta Allah jaga kita lah. Kalau rasa-rasa ilmu amal tu tak cukup, kita kena kita kena solat. Kalau tak banyak pun solat tu kiranya kena belajar solat on time and solat khusyuk lah, and we need to pray more to Allah lah. A lot of things lah. I pun rasa it's not like a normal disease anymore. Kalau lah dia it's a normal disease, but the situation is like out of hand at times. Contoh kita dah tak boleh nak pergi masjid ke kan. So I guess ni lah masa kita, sebab kita lagi banyak kat rumah, so kita dah tak terkejar-kejar nak pergi sana sini. So I guess itulah masanya Allah bagi untuk kita buat kerja walaupun kita busy. Maksudnya kita kena solat on time, solat sebelum dan selepas. Benda-benda tu kan dia nampak macam rutin tau. But at times, those things are actually benda yang kita nak, yang kita perlu sebenarnya. Especially bila kita macam ni, kita rasa since studying online and then tak jumpa kawan, tak jumpa lecturer, dia jadi kita macam depressed tau. And moody at times. So I guess masa itulah kita kena solat. Itu je yang sebenarnya. Hati ni nak tenang, kita solat, baca Quran. Lepas tu bukan saja baca Quran, kita baca tafsir ke, baca tadabbur Al-Quran ke, baca terjemahan ke. So I bought this Quran Nota My Quran Time. So I guess it's useful masa ni lah. Yang kita ada walaupun sebenarnya tak ada masa, kita bagi ada masa lah, and you are still young, a lot of things you can do kan. So I think this is the only time. Lepas ni you dah sibuk, bila kita dah baik ke our normal life, we will be busy with our work. Tapi bila kat rumah ni, I think itulah masanya. And then you are staying at home with your family, mother, father. So basically, itulah masa Allah dah bagi katnya untuk kita berbakti pada ibu bapa kita. Sebab bila dia tak ada nanti, dah tak adalah doa ibu bapa. Itu je lah. Madam bukan nak membebel, tapi Rasa macam lately macam things were weird when we got this second wave or third wave and things like out of control economically, socially and politically lah. So itulah ujian, tapi at the same time boleh jadi satu bala dengan flood here and there. I think it's timely for us to get back to our root, to Allah and pray and solat taubat, solat sunat taubat banyak-banyak. Kita rasa kita tak banyak dosa tau. But I think sebenarnya kita buat dosa. Kita cakap cuma setakat bertaubat, cakap astagfirullah satu kali. Padahal kita lagi banyak. So maksudnya kita punya dosa tu lagi banyak daripada istighfar, taubat kita. So I guess kita kena lebih bertaubat dan beristighfar dan cover amalan-amalan jahat kita dengan amal-amal baik lah. Solat, zikir dan sebagainya. Okay, itu saja first round. Second round is our work. Okay, so basically have you all done your course papers and injunction punya application done? Semua group done kot? Have you all got your presentation done? Group Ashraf. Siap dah habis dah?
Yes, madam.
Okay, good. Nanti yet to I put the folder for your course papers kan? Nanti you masukkan dekat dalam tu.
Okay, doktor.
Lagi satu your tutorial. Is it going on? Okay tak tutorial?
Doktor, saya nak tanya boleh? Cukup seorang je kan hantar course paper tu?
Yelah satu group satu je lah.
Okay.
Tu satu. Satu our LPQB JTC visit. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Tu lagi satu benda lah, kita kena doa lah, minta solat hajat banyak-banyak. Solat tahajud tu untuk kita dunia akhirat lah, lebih kat akhirat, our ruhiyah part. Dan solat hajat tu benda-benda yang kita nak, benda dunia yang kita nak tu kita minta lah solat hajat, nak LPQB punya accreditation. Kan bisa our usaha we need to do all this as well lah. Okay, and then satu kerja and mid-sem. I tengok mostly ramai dah send about 70 plus, ada beberapa lagi. Lagi apa? Assignment. I think I look at the number roughly around that 70 plus, ada lagi beberapa belas yang belum hantar. So make sure you do it because or else nanti susah nak mark ni. Dia nak final. When is your final exam? Have you got the date? Dia dapat?
Dah, doktor.
Bila berapa bulan? Saya tak tahu.
23 bulan 2.
Oh my god, dia bercakap dekat mana?
23rd is on your 23rd is your paper lah. But we gonna start our first paper will be on 9 of February.
Okay, tu satu. 3 bulan 2 I don't know why don't we get the dates for our exam. So we need to touch a bit on that exam after at the end of this class. So basically we need to cover a bit more in the sense that to guide you, because this time round you will get like 3 hours. 3 hours kan for your final?
Yes, 3 hours.
It seems
Yes,
like that.
madam. 3 hours.
Yes, doktor.
3 hours. So bila nak exam tu kan, dia ada cakap ke open book ke apa ke kan? Dia ada cakap tak open book ke tak? I guess that's mostly open book lah kan?
Yes.
So make sure for your exam tu, before exam, make sure Rabiniko, your ROC, semua ada dekat-dekat you bila dah start tu. Lepas tu kau jangan bergerak pun sampai nak bergerak pun di toilet je. Yang ni, buku Hamid Sultan ni.
Soalan dia apa je madam yang keluar?
Oh banyak. Cuma kita belajar. Nanti today or next week. Okay, so our lecture is going to tailor on those areas, to touch on those areas. I bolehlah merapu-rapu
Doktor. Saya rasa internet doktor terputus ke saya?
Saya pun rasa yang sama.
Kita satu wifi.
Saya tak pakai wifi.
Because it's not that easy. It's not that easy
Terputus-putus juga.
Medal things I need to
Doktor.
Doctor, your internet connection is bad. I think we couldn't hear you. Yeah.
Think your connection.
Okay tak? I tak cakap apa-apa pun tadi sebab I nampak dia punya ni bad quality network. Okay.
Dah okey
Alah,
dah.
dia tulis lagi. Tak okay?
Okey.
Okay tak?
Okey.
Okay Now okay. Now okay.
Yes, doktor.
Yes, Doctor. Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So I nak senangkan kan. So for appeal and also course guna buku Rabi Niko. Senang. Ni I tengok macam mana cara paling senang lah nak mudahkan our class and your understanding of the subject matter. I guess most of you ada buku Rabi Niko tak? Ke tak ada?
Tak semua ada, doktor.
Tak semua ada. Macam mana dia buat tu?
Yang ada je ada.
Yang ada yang hari tu yang photostat Lepas tu yang tak photostat tak adalah. Ramai tak yang tak photostat?
Tak pasti yang tu doktor bilangan dia.
Cuba sebut ada tak? Ramai. Okey, Hamid Sultan semua ada tak? Tak kira lah photostat ke tak photostat.
Ada. Ada, semua ada.
Okey, kalau Hamid Sultan semua ada, okey. Okey. Alright, sekejap Oi, banyaknya pula dia punya nota ni. Okay, I share screen. Save procedure. Boleh nampak tak? Appeal. Can you see it?
Yes, doktor.
Yes, doktor.
Alright. So ni appeals ni, what is important regarding this appeal? Number one is the procedure. Okay, and then number two is the other issues relating to appeal. I will highlight all those things. Okay, so basically appeals can be from the subordinate court. Okay, these are the important things. Okay, on procedure, cross appeal and further appeal, and then you can also appeal from the registrar of the High Court. Okay, registrar, pendaftar. Okay. Apart from that, apart from having registrar, we also have the High Court judge. Okay, appeals to the High Court from statutory bodies of tribunals. Also, we can appeal from statutory bodies and tribunals to the High Court, and appeals from the High Court of High Court. Okay, you can appeal from High Court to court above, and appeals at the Court of Appeal, and then appeals to the Federal Court. Okay. Do you have your Rules of Court 2012 tu termasuk Rules of Court of Appeal dengan Rules of Federal Court tak? Do you have it together or you just have Rules of Court 2012? Ada yang mana?
Kalau online boleh refer, madam.
Okay. Make sure you have all these three, all these three. Because if you buy from Hamid Sultan, Jenab Law Series, you will have Rules of Court 2012, Rules of Court of Appeal 1994, sekali semua dalam satu buku. And then Rules of the Federal Court 1995. Okay, you should have all those three. Sebab semua, everything is there. Okay, so I'm going to refer mostly to Ravi Niko's appeal on topic of appeal, page 891. For those who have Ravi Niko, turn to page 891, 891. Okay, this is an important case, Auto Dunia. Okay, so basically, all right, these are appeals of creatures of statutes. Okay, so you need to read these cases on your own. To cut it short, if you don't have time to find these cases, what you need to do? Macam mana? Kau malas nak download all these cases, what should you do? How do you refer to these cases? Tell me.
Google.
Google tu satu. You use the textbook, Jenab's Key to Civil Procedure. Okay, because most of the cases are discussed in that textbook. Whereas Ravi Niko, they don't really discuss much about cases, but more on procedural and practical part. Perasan tak?
Yes.
Alright. So, appeals from the subordinate court. Okay. So, these are the notes, the main notes that we are going to use in our lecture. But I'm going to ask you to cross-refer to page 891. Cuba tengok muka 891. Ni senang tau. Kau tengok notes ni semua, I'm afraid that if you have time, you can read at your own leisure. But if you want to understand it in a compact manner, you need to look at Ravi Niko. Turn to page 891. What can you see from page 891? 891.
It's the summary of appeal procedure.
Okay, summary of appeal procedure. Ni cara senang. If you baca semua perkataan-perkataan ni, I'm afraid that kepala otak you macam terabur fikir. Macam mana you don't know how to, apa orang kata, macam mana cara you nak tengok on the topic kan. Nanti macam, kejap madam suruh tengok kat sini, sekejap tengok kat sini. Jadi part of the information tu you nak digest tu jadi bersepah sana sini, and in the end takut tak faham. So it's easy for you to look at Ravi Niko's. So dia more or less dia punya procedure dia sama, is the same, more or less. Saya cakap more or less, but ada some documents are not the same. But you need to understand, one is the summary of the appeal procedure. Lepas tu daripada court mana ke court mana, which court to which court, and the kind of appeal that you want to apply. Okay, and then other issues apa tahu maksud I? Do you understand other issues? What do I mean by other issues relating to appeal apart from the procedure is conditions of appeal. Okay, when can you appeal? That's what I mean by conditions of appeal. Leave to appeal. When do you have to apply to get permission from the court to appeal? And then issues of stay of execution. These are quite favorite exam area. Okay, and then time. When do you appeal? The time computation. And then next is still on the procedure, hearing of appeal. If you are looking at Ravi Niko's, and then issues like fresh evidence at the appellate stage. That is another issue. And then another issue is principles of interference by the appellate court. When do the appellate court basically interfere with the decision of the courts, the lower courts? That is another issue. And then last part is what? What are the orders that appeal court can make? What are the powers of court in appeals? Boleh? So ada berapa tu? Satu, summary of appeal. And then dua, issues. Next, when we are talking about the summary of appeal procedure, conditions of appeal, when can you appeal, leave the appeal, in what circumstances should you apply or can you apply for appeal, can you get leave for appeal, stay of execution, that is one issue in appeal, time computation, and then hearing of appeal, basically on a bit on the evidence and the procedure part, 6, and then the last part is 7, fresh evidence, okay, fresh evidence, and then 8, principle of interference by the appellate court. Banyak pula. 9 is when actually, what are actually the orders that the appellate court can make. So basically there are 9 things. Boleh?
InsyaAllah.
9 isu yang penting dalam appeal. Okay. The procedural part, I think that's quite straightforward. But in order for you, you need to compartmentalize your understanding dalam bentuk. I like Ravi Nico because dia buat chart macam ni. So you tahu mana nak tengok. That's as a general guidance, tapi you must also cross refer to this rules of court. Kena tengok balik dia punya tu for a better understanding. Tengok the chart is generally overall for you nak tengok flow dia macam mana, tapi the details of part tu, the procedure, you need to look at the rules of court. Apart from that, when answering civil procedure paper, don't just forget, apart from the issues, you need to support it with the rules of court. You can summarize the procedural rules in your answer, but also you need to put the cases. Cases banyak dalam ni. Boleh. You need to support some relevant issues regarding procedure, compliance, non-compliance, fresh evidence with cases you. Whether you like it or not, you need to refer to Hamid Sultan's book as well. Boleh? Okay. Itu je cara dia. Alright. So, number 1, appeal. If I'm too fast, if you don't understand, just stop me and ask. Okay? Boleh? Agak ada laju macam kereta api Perancis kan, kau langsung tak dapat apa yang Madam cakap. Alright, so basically the 2 types of appeal, meaning you can appeal against against interlocutory decision, the inter-application before the full trial and then after the full trial. Those are basically 2 types of appeal. Alright. So we start at 891 from interlocutory decision commencing from subordinate court. So you can appeal to the, you can make basically 2 type of appeal, from subordinate court to high court 1 time, and then from high court to court of appeal 2nd time. If you appeal from the high court, what did I say just now? If you appeal from the high court, you appeal first to the court of appeal 1st time, and then you 2nd appeal to the federal court. So you know that's why it's important for you to make note, to take note that cases that start in the subordinate court will end at the your highest court you can go is to the
Court of Appeal.
Court of Appeal. If your case start at high court, what is the highest? Where is the highest court that you can go?
Federal
court.
Okay, good.
Court.
All right. So because we just have 2 stages of appeal only. All right. So from the subordinate court, okay, the document. This is important thing regarding the procedural appeal part is the documents. What are the types of document that you need? Okay, and then later when answering your questions, look at the tengok markah dia tau bagi. Kau jangan nak menghapus banyak sangat sampai bahagian tu, nanti you'll miss other parts because revisions has been made to the final exam in the sense that soalan banyak. You know, so I'm quite worried. I'm quite worried that you'll be running out of time. So tengok markah and jawab secukupnya. Jangan kau banyak sangat kat appeal, kata appeal 10 markah pergi jawab lama-lama kat situ. Ada banyak soalan lain. Alright? You need to plan your answer. Boleh? Okay. So from the subordinate court, you need to file notice of appeal. Okay. So basically notice of appeal ni tengok Order 53, Rule 33, Sub Rule 1. Can we have a look at Order 53, Rule 3, Sub Rule 1? Apa dia kata? Order 55. Okay. Tengok dia punya procedural part. Dia cakap pasal notice of appeal. So itulah perincian, the detail of the dengar tak? Tak
Dengar doktor.
Dengar. Suara tak putus
Okay. Jelas.
Okay. So Order 55 Rule 3 dia tulis pasal notice of appeal against a decision made after trial. Okay, Sub Rule 2. Okay. Alright. So this is basically Order 55, Rule 3, Sub Rule 2. Basically from the ROC, you need to file within 14 days in the session or the magistrate court. That is the court where you file the notice of appeal. Okay. The days you compute it at Order 55 Rule 2. Order 55 Rule 2 tu ditulis all appeals to the High Court shall be by way of rehearing. Okay, and shall be brought by giving a notice of appeal within 14 days. So basically that is the computation of time within 14 days from the date of the decision appeal from. Okay, 14 days tu I dapat 14 days tu. Order 55 Rule 3 pula Sub Rule 2 states that it shall be in Form 111. Okay, and then it is filed from which the decision is appealed from. You file dekat court mana, session court ke magistrate court. That is where you file the notice of appeal. Okay, and then and next you look at the next requirement. You need to put a duplicate copy of the notice of appeal. You serve it on the defendant. This is based on order 55 Rule 4. Okay, Sub Rule 4. Okay, so you must serve it on the it must be served by the appellant within the time limited for the filing of an appeal on all respondent. You file it 14 days and you need to serve it. Okay, the notice of appeal. Itu baru satu dokumen. Dokumen dia nama notice of appeal. Okay.
Saya ada persoalan.
Okay.
Berkenaan dengan Order 55 Rules 2. Where it stated that all appeals to the High Court shall be by way of rehearing. The term rehearing tu adakah bermaksud kita start over balik dekat High Court ke maksudnya macam mana doktor? Saya kurang jelas kat situ.
So basically my understanding of the matter is that sebab dia court tu daripada subordinate court, is that dia rehear balik all the matters in the High Court. If that is my understanding lah, because that's a rehearing kan, and the court lower tu court yang memang orang panggil subordinate court, consists of magistrate and session court. Okay, kalau dia higher than High Court, I don't think that will be a rehearing. Nanti kita tengok. Okay, if I'm wrong, you can later ask the practitioner maksud rehearing. But my understanding is that dia dengar balik lah. the case sama macam the subordinate courts. Boleh?
Okay, Doktor. Alright, thank you.
Alright. So that is a document notice of appeal, and then dalam interlocutory application and then bila first appeal to the High Court, and then bila appeal from High Court to the Court of Appeal for interlocutory application as the second appeal, dia tulis itu Rule 6, 7, 6, 12, 17 RCOA, Rules of Court of Appeal. Boleh buka Rules of Court of Appeal? Ada tak? Rules of Court of Appeal, Rule 6. Ni sebab I want you to get a gist of the details of the appeal process. Apa dia tulis? Rule 6 tu. Rule 6 RCOA. Anybody? Ke you all tak ada RCOA?
Service of Notice of Appeal.
Service of Notice of Appeal. Apa dia kata? To whom should we serve it?
Notice of Appeal shall be served on all parties directly affected by the appeal or their solicitor.
Alright, you need to serve it on the other parties sama macam dekat High Court tadi ya, Rule 6. Okay, you tengok Rule 6. Ni Rules of Court of Appeal ni agak lain sikit lah. Okay, Service of Notice of Appeal. Dia susunan dia lain daripada ROC. ROC lain kan, dia ada banyak-banyak sub-rule. Ni Court of Appeal ni dia quite straightforward. Ni bahagian civil appeal. Service of Notice of Appeal within the time limited. Okay. So Rule 6 is Service of Notice of Appeal. Rule 7, Rule 12, what is it about? What does it say on Rule 12 RCOA?
Time limit for appeal.
Okay, time limit for appeal. What is the time limit for appeal?
The time limit? 30 days.
30 days time limit dia.
Except by leave of court lah kalau nak extension.
Except by leave of court. Okay, so nak appeal to the Court of Appeal is the time limit you must adhere to is 30 days unless you get after the expiration you get leave lah. Alright. So next is Rule 17. Tengok Rule 17. Ni. What is Rule 17? Ada siapa tak selain pada Abdul Had yang ada RCOA? Syauqi, kau pun tak ada buku RCOA. Okay, Abdul Had nak cakap apa?
Kalau Rule 17, Entry of Appeal.
Okay, Entry of Appeal. Dia kata apa?
Notice of Appeal may be given by filing within the time limit for bringing the appeal 4 copies of the notice. Kena sediakan 4 kopi.
Okay, kena ada 4 kopi dekat court mana?
In the notice of appeal in the registry of the High Court at the place where the judgment, order, decision, complaint was made or given by paying the prescribed fee. Maksudnya notice of appeal tu kena serahkan kepada court yang buat decision lah.
Dekat
High Court.
Dekat High Court lah. Okay, and then kat sini ada cakap security by course which we are going to cover on the course. Okay, so that is the second part. Baru satu dokumen dia dulu, Notice of Appeal. Boleh? Ni interlocutory decision. Okay, next. Dokumen yang kedua ialah Record of Appeal. Selain kita file satu Notice of Appeal, dokumen yang kedua ialah Record of Appeal. Record of Appeal ni from the Magistrate or Session Court, you file the Record of Appeal within 1 month of filing Notice of Appeal in the High Court. Nampak tak dia ada beza dia. Notice of appeal tadi berapa hari di subordinate courts?
14 days.
14 days. Tapi record of appeal ni berapa lama?
1 month.
1 month. Why do you think notice of appeal dengan record of appeal ni lain requirement dia? Logically. Bagi you fikir sikit.
Record of appeal
macam mana rupa? Macam mana rupa notice of appeal? Form berapa?
11A. Form 11A.
11A ke?
Bukan.
I sebut form berapa tadi? Okay, kita let us look at form 111. Tengok form 111. Page berapa? Okay, tengok form 111. Okay. So 111 ni dia notice sahaja. Okay, dia bukan record tau. Record of appeal tu maksudnya ada banyak benda dokumen dia. Kalau notice of appeal, look at 111. Semua nampak tak? 111.
Nampak, doktor.
So panjang ke pendek?
Pendek.
Exactly. So that's why dia 14 days saja. Tapi record of appeal meaning ada banyak dokumen yang you kena letakkan dalam record of appeal. So that's why dia bagi requirement of 30 days. This is stated dalam order berapa tadi, Syami?
Yang mana? Yang untuk notice of appeal?
Record of appeal.
Record of appeal. Order 55 rules 3 sub rule 3.
Okay, order 55 rule 3 sub rule 3. Tengok kejap. Rule 3 sub rule 3 tadi tadi kita cakap pasal notice of appeal order 55 rule 3 sub rule 3. Okay, order dah deleted and then kita tengok record of appeal ni dia letak dekat order ni. Order 55 rule 4. Dia dah deleted. Buku Ravi Niko tu dia tak updated tahun. Dia salah Patutnya is order 55 rule 4. Order Fatihah.
Order 55 rule 4 subsection 1A sampai H.
Okay. So benda-benda ni semua adalah apa? Subsection A sampai H. Tu apa benda semua tu?
Record of appeal.
Okay, itu nama dia documents for record of appeal. Filing dia berapa lama I cakap tadi?
1 month.
1 month. Okay, ni semua dari record of appeals ni apa yang you kena ada? The relevant pleadings. Apa lagi? Malah lah sakit tekak cakap. Cuba siapa yang boleh baca. Apa dia record of appeal? Apa dia?
Saya, madam.
Apa dia? Apa record of appeal?
Yang pertama, all pleading file. Yang kedua, note of evidence. Yang ketiga, ground of judgment. Yang keempat, memorandum of appeal. Yang kelima, the judgment ataupun order being appealed against. Yang ketujuh, notice of appeal. Yang ke-8, exhibit. Yang kelima, affidavit.
Exhibit and then affidavit. Okay, affidavit. Exhibit tu mana? Affidavit. Okay. Alright. Semua ada apa yang perlu ada dalam record of appeal. Okay, last time siapa je Imran Hussein dia ada tanya kan. Imran dia ada tanya ni notes of evidence semua tu. Inilah bendanya for appeal. What contain in the record of appeal. Okay. Itu from the subordinate court. But later to the court of appeal is covered by Rule 18 Rule 18 sub Rule 7 sub Rule 7A sub Rule 7B. Okay. You all tak ada rules of court of appeal
Ada doktor.
Ada ke tak?
Ada dekat online.
Okey, cuba tengok rule 18, 7ABC. Rule 17 tu pasal apa?
Rule 17 tu
Asal. Rule 17 ke?
Dia tulis, sorry, rule 18. Sorry.
Oh.
Go Fatihah.
Fatihah.
Memorandum of Appeal.
Memorandum of Appeal. Apa ada dalam Memorandum of Appeal tu? So basically dekat Court of Appeal ni kita kena ada Memorandum of Appeal. Kalau dekat dekat lower court, subordinate court tu kita guna terms dia Record of Appeal. But bila Court of Appeal, nama dia punya terms ialah Memorandum of Appeal. So basically benda yang sama, cuma dia kata timing dia tu. Memorandum of Appeal tu yang penting dia punya timing. Dia tulis kat sini 7. Okay, Memorandum of
Bukan Memorandum of Appeal ni, dia jatuh bawah Record of Appeal, termasuk salah satu dokumen untuk kita buat Record of Appeal.
Dia collection of those document tu termasuk Record of Appeal. Okay, dan copies tu. Copies the memorandum and copies referred to in sub-rule 4. Sub-rule 4 tu tu semua itulah memorandum copies of the proceedings tu. Memorandum of Appeal tu benda-benda dia is stated under Rule 18, Rules of Court Rules of Court of Appeal, sub-rule 4, Rule 18, sub-rule 4. Copies of the documents. Okay, lagi a copy of the judge note. Kat sini ada judge note. Okay. And then copies of all the affidavit, copy of the judgment, copy of the written judgment and grounds decision of a judge, and a copy of the notice of appeal. F tu, notice of appeal. So benda ni semua nama dia Memorandum of Appeal. Okay, and then kita filekan dia tu within 90 days of the decision of High Court. But it's stated in Ravinico here, note here, if grounds of judgment is not available, then an amended Memorandum of Appeal may be filed together with the grounds of judgment in a supplementary Record of Appeal. Maksudnya kalau dia punya grounds of judgment tu tak ada lagi, you can file it later together. Okay? Boleh. Tu yang menunjukkan the 90 days is stated in Rule 18 sub-rule 7. Dia tulis itu shall be filed at the registry within 90 days. Okay, and then 7A tu dia kata apa documents tu, BDE tu. The appellant shall file a copy together as within 3 weeks have been notified of its availability. Okay, B4 BDE tu apa? B tu copy of the judge note, D tu copy of the judgment, E tu copy of the written judgment. So basically benda-benda yang tak ada tu can be filed together. The amendment there. Okay, and 7B tu dia kata if any copy specified by B or E is not available after 9 days, the court may order the appellant to proceed with his appeal. Kalau B dengan E tu tak ada, judge note dengan written judgment, grounds of decision, the court may order, they proceed lah without the those documents. Okay, kalau you all takut confused, you buat macam mana tau? You boleh, can you annotate? Alah, tapi dia online kan, tak kisahlah, tak siapa pun check. Kalau you confused, you buat apa tau? Take a highlighter, ambil highlighter, kau pergi highlight kat apa benda dokumen nanti kau takut confuse apa dokumen yang patut ada ke, kemudian ada ke. Kalau you nak tengok dekat Rules of Court of Appeal. Tapi kalau tengok Ravi Niko is summarized dah. Dia dah di-summarizekan apa yang tak ada kemudian boleh supplemented later. Boleh?
Okay, Doktor.
Alright. Okay. Dekat the third document kita dah sebut memorandum of appeal, tapi dekat subordinate courts there is no need to file memorandum of appeal. Dia tak ada document requirement to file memorandum of appeal. Tapi yang kita dah baca tadi, rules of court of appeal, bila di high court, di court of appeal, you need to file this record of appeal in the court of appeal within 90 days yang kita dah baca tadi. This is stated under rule 18, sub rule 4 and sub rule 7. Dia memang ada specific term for memorandum of appeal. Boleh? Dia punya nama dia tu memorandum of appeal tu, dia punya documents tu stated in rules of court of appeal. Maksudnya dekat rules of high court tu tak adalah memorandum of appeal. Dia hanya untuk court of appeal sahaja. Boleh? Now, so on the procedural part, nampak tak? Can you see the flow? Apa yang penting? What types of documents needed? Dekat high court macam mana? And dekat court of appeal macam mana? Boleh?
Boleh.
Alright, good. Itu interlocutory application, interlocutory decision. Yang second part is from the decision of the registrar of the high court. Registrar ni pendaftar lain, dia dengan high court kan lain. Okay, basically apa tiga dokumen yang kena ada masa during appeal. First is paling senang, dokumen form 111 tu, apa nama dia?
Notice of appeal.
Notice of appeal. Second,
Record of appeal.
Record of appeal. Yang ketiga,
Memorandum of appeal.
Memorandum of appeal. Kat subordinate court, do we need to file memorandum of appeal or not?
No.
No, okay. Itu basically tiga dokumen tu. Tapi apa maksud notice of appeal, form 111, record of appeal, apa ada description tadi kan? Tadi Faiz Ashraf dah baca kan? Okay, and memorandum of appeal tu apa documents dia has been listed just now. Dah disebut tadi kan? Kena tengok rules of court of appeal and rules of court 2012. Boleh?
Boleh.
Okay, alright. Next, ni against the decision of the registrar of the high court. Basically more or less the same, I guess more or less the same thing lah. Lebih kurang sama. It's just that dia punya rules dia tu, nombor rules dia tu lain. Okay, nombor rules dia tu, kalau notice of appeal, the first document is notice of appeal. Daripada subordinate court to high court, order number dia order 56 rule 1 sub rule 3. Masa dia sama je, 14 days. Okay. But you need to serve the notice of appeal not less than 5 days before the appeal. Okay. Lepas tu, if you want to appeal to the court of appeal against the decision of the registrar of the high court, the number coverage is still the same. Rule 6. Dia lain sikit. Sama je. Rule 6, 12 and 17. Maksud dia kalau rule dia number rule dia sama, maksudnya the timing requirement is just the same. Berapa lama to the filing notice of appeal? How many days?
30 days.
Okay, 30 days. Alright. Next is record of appeal. Okay, kalau untuk against the decision of registrar of the high court, there is no need to file record of appeal. Okay, appeal from high court to court of appeal, ni dia. Rule 18.7 macam kita sebut tadi, 18 sub rule 7, sub rule 7A, 7B. Okay, maksud dia you must file all this memorandum of appeal within 90 days of the decision of the high court. Kalau ground of judgment not available, then amended memorandum of appeal maybe filed together with ground of judgment in the supplementary
record of appeal.
Record of appeal. Okay, memorandum of appeal pun sama, subordinate court. There is no need for you to file the memorandum of appeal. But for court of appeal, it is within 17 days. Samalah macam decision from the subordinate court. Rule 18, sub-rule 4, sub-rules and also sub-rule 7, rules of court of appeal. Okay. So yang ketiga ialah appeal to the High Court under the written law. So if it's under written law, apa-apa undang-undang yang terlibat, okay, these are the laws that you need to adhere to. Order 55A and dia punya on the rules of court of appeal sama je rules dia, 30 days for notice of appeal, 90 days. And then memorandum of appeal 90 days, record of appeal pun 90 days. As for subordinate court, I skip bahagian ni sebab dia sebab tak berapa penting lah. You can read it. Okay, sebab basically benda dia sama je, cuma order number dia tu lain. Ada certain law tu the procedure requirement, order dia order 55A. Okay. Next is, kalau tadi interlocutory, sekarang after full trial pula. Ni lepas full trial. Okay. Ada beberapa dokumen. Sama je dokumen dia. Satu, notice of appeal. Yang kedua, memorandum of appeal. Yang ketiga, record of appeal. Okay, this is covered by order 55. Sama je lah tadi, order 55 rule 2. You file the notice of appeal within 14 days. And then it must be filed at the magistrate court. And then you serve the notice of appeal within 14 days. Serve dia 14 days. Okay, and then rule order 55 rule 3 sub rule 5 ROC, you're going to apply notes of proceedings and ground judgment within the time prescribed for filing the appeal. Ni sama ke lain sikit daripada yang tadi? You rasa?
Lain sikit.
Lain sikit. Tadi macam tak ada requirement for all these notes of proceeding and grounds of judgment kan? Okay. Tengok order 55 rule 3 sub rule 3 and 4.
Doktor. Nak tanya, yang untuk appeal against any interlocutory decision ni, dia punya form 11A ke 111?
111?
Kalau 111 tengok rule 3 untuk trial bukan? Saya salah.
Kalau untuk full trial pun you kata 111 juga kan? Sekejap Tadi I cakap 111 kan? Sekejap. So you kata full trial lain form ke apa? Soalan you? Kalau
Rawat dalam masa saya.
Form berapa?
Kalau full trial 111. Kalau interlocutory 11A. Ke saya salah? Saya tengok yang full trial ni bawah rule 3. Yang untuk interlocutory rule 5.
Okay. Abang perasan. Sorry. Notice of appeal after trial 111. Inilah sekarang sorry 111. Yang interlocutory tadi nombor apa tadi? Salah nombor.
11A bawah rule 5. 11A.
118 ke 11A?
11A. Bukan.
Betul Fatihah.
11A ke 11A ke 111A?
111A. 111A.
Betul. Dia tu kat dalam tu dia ada tulis. Actually dia dah clearly tu. I ingat I rasa buku Raviniko ke salah ke? I salah tengok. Sebab dia macam dia tulis 11A. 11A to notice of appeal other than decision made after trial. Sorry, that is for interlocutory. Yang after full trial is 111. 111 dengan 111A. Boleh? Dia ada dalam rules sebenarnya. I salah tengok. Alright? Tu form dia. Next. Okay, order 55 rule 3 sub rule 2 and then dia punya for the appeal from the High Court to Court of Appeal more or less the same. Notice of appeal within 30 days. The rules covered is just the same rule 12, rule 17 and rule 6 of rules of Court of Appeal. Sama kan? Tulis dengan terbalik dalam buku Ravi Niko ni. Dia tulis 12, 17 and 6. Just the same 6, 12 and 17. That is for notice of appeal. Boleh? Next is memorandum of appeal. Okay, memorandum of appeal pula tadi dekat interlocutory. Interlocutory no need to file memorandum of appeal kan?
Ya, betul.
Okay, but for after full trial decision, okay, you file it in the High Court together with the record of appeal. Okay, this is stated by order 55 rule 4 sub rule 2 of ROC. However, if the grounds of judgment is not available, then file an amended memorandum of appeal together with the grounds of appeal in a supplementary record of appeal.
Appeal.
Boleh? Okay. Lepas tu for the appeal to the Court of Appeal, you file memorandum of appeal in the High Court together with record of appeal, more or less the same thing within 90 days of decision of the High Court. Again, if the grounds of judgment is not available, then you file an amended memorandum of appeal together with grounds of judgment in the supplementary record of appeal. 2. Memorandum of appeal. The third document is record of appeal. Record of appeal is covered in order 55 rule 4 sub rule 1. So when you answer appeal questions, tengok soalan dia nak apa. Daripada court mana ke court mana, that's one thing. Okay, yang kedua, surely they will ask you, kalau dia tak ask pun, if they ask you about the procedure, maksud dia apa? You kena illustrate apa dokumen yang diperlukan. Procedure maksudnya berapa lama. Okay, 30 days ke 15 days ke dan apa dokumen. That is how you answer the procedural question. Okay, in this record of appeal ialah within 1 month of filing notice of appeal. So record of appeal apa dia? You kena define apa tu record of appeal. Is stated is on the order 55 rule 4 1. Apa dia? Apa record of appeal tadi? Dah repeat. Apa dia? Satu?
Relevant pleadings.
Pleading. Lagi?
Notes of evidence.
Wah, jap. Macam Imran. Imran ke?
Ya, betul. Imran tu.
Notes of evidence. Lagi apa Imran?
Grounds of judgment.
Grounds of judgment. Lagi?
Memorandum of appeal.
Lagi?
Decision, other order or judgment.
Alright. Lagi?
Copy of notice of appeal.
Copy of notice to appeal. Lagi?
And copy of notice of cross appeal.
Okay, copy of notice of cross appeal. Okay, and then lagi?
Documentary exhibits.
Cross
which is relevant for the appeal, for the purpose of appeal.
Okay. Cross appeal tu apa? Cross appeal tu pun satu isu juga tau.
Kalau pihak lagi satu pihak nak appeal juga, let's say defendant nak appeal, then at the same time plaintiff pun nak appeal juga.
Okay.
Counter appeal.
Macam konon lah, macam counter appeal jugalah kan. Tapi nama dia term kita pakai cross appeal tau. Kau jangan pakai counter appeal. Nanti dia kata lecturer kau ajar mana tak counter appeal. Okay. Cross appeal. Cross appeal ni dia dalam order je Order berapa? Order 55 apa dia? Subrule berapa?
Rule 8.
Rule 8 tu. Cross appeal. Tick, highlight. Tu penting juga tu. Cross appeal. Notice of cross appeal, order 55, rule 8. So a respondent to an appeal, dia respondent. Okay. Those who appeal, who do we call them?
Appellate.
Appellant. The other party, the opponent, we call them as?
Respondent.
Respondent. Correct. Okay, the appellant make appeal and the respondent can make a cross appeal. Okay, a respondent to an appeal within 14 days, honey. Within 14 days from the date of service on him of the record of appeal, file a notice of cross appeal in the High Court and serve upon the appellate a duplicate copy of the notice in form 113. So notice of cross appeal form 113. Betul? 113 tu. Kejap. Nah, harap kau tengok lepas ni kau tak tengok Mana kejap. 113. Tahu. Kau tengok tu Notice of cross appeal. More or less sama je lah. Cuma dia tulis apa? Dia tulis perkataan cross the varied ought to be varied and extend on the ground. So dia tulis lah apa dia punya claim dia. Nature of relief and the grounds rely. Okay? Notice of cross appeal. Itu procedural dia. Okay, and then that he intends to contend on the hearing on the day and the decision of the court below shall be varied. Okay? Highlight sikit kat situ. Okay. When you want to appeal to the Court of Appeal, same rules apply. Dia kata you file the record of appeal within 90 days of the decision. Boleh? So basically appeal against decision from the High Court after full trial. Tadi against the subordinate courts tau. Yang next is against decision of the High Court after full trial. Page 896. Okay, tengok tu. Against decision of the High Court. Leave to appeal. Do we need leave to appeal when we appeal to the High Court against decision of the High Court? Do we need permission? Kita kena leave to appeal tak against the decision of the High Court to the Court of Appeal?
Perlu.
Perlu ke?
Perlu.
Cuba tengok buku Rabiniko, page 896. First against the decision from the High Court to the Court of Appeal. And then lepas tu dia second tier is to the Federal Court. And tadi yang kita cerita tadi subordinate court to the High Court and to the Court of Appeal. Sekarang kita cerita against decision of the High Court to the Court of Appeal and to the Federal Court. Kalau ikut sini, the first appeal you don't need a leave to appeal.
Yes.
Okay. Tapi when you want to appeal from the Court of Appeal to the Federal Court, the second appeal, you need to file application for leave to appeal within 30 days of the decision of the Court of Appeal. This is stated under section 96 sub 8 CJA. CJA itu apa?
90.
Court Judicature Act.
Okay, Court of Judicature Act.
Doktor.
Leave to appeal lah.
Yang section 68 subsection 1 subsection A tu, yang tu leave of court of appeal dia perlukan. Boleh doktor terangkan kat situ.
Section berapa?
Section 68 subsection 1 subsection A Court of Judicature Act.
Section 68. Sekejap Untuk appeal ke mana? Ke mana?
Daripada High Court ke Court of Appeal yang memerlukan leave. Boleh doktor terangkan kat situ.
Oh, yang memerlukan leave
As general saya faham tak perlu memerlukan leave, tapi kan kat sini ada exception. Boleh doktor terangkan.
Ni kejap. Tu kejap lagi bila kita discuss issues. Issues nanti ada issues on leave to appeal tu 68 ke? Section 68 Ya. CJA Court of Judicature Act 1964 Section 68. I tak download CJA dekat dalam tu ke? Dekat dalam tu. Ke I download lah.
Doktor, kalau nak proceed yang lain dulu pun tak apa. Nanti saya tanya nanti.
Ya, I dah terbuka ni. Non-appealable. Section 68 kan you cakap kan?
Doktor.
Okay. So kita tengok kejap CJA kita start tengok 67. So you kata as a general rule tak kena dapat leave apa you cakap tadi? Dah terlupa dah apa you cakap.
Generally leave kena dapat kan, tapi ada exception untuk bila tidak diperlukan. Tu kan? Nak tahu kan?
Oh, okay.
General rule tak payah minta leave, tapi ada exception yang kena minta leave.
Betul lah. So itu memang dalam section 68 dia tulis generally betul lah yang cakap tadi dia tak boleh leave, tapi kena leave bila apa? Ni kita cover kemudian lah bila kita cakap pasal conditions of tu, bila amount tu.
Boleh doktor.
Boleh hold kejap lagi kan kita discuss bila kita discuss isu-isu. Okay. Alright. So next part is notice of appeal. Notice of appeal tu the usual rule that we refer just now, Rules Court of Appeal, Rule 6, 12 and 17. Basically, you file notice of appeal in the High Court within 30 days, and then you serve notice of appeal on the respondent within same time period. But at the Federal Court, this is covered under Rule 56 of Rule of Federal Court. After obtaining leave to file appeal, okay, file notice of appeal in the Court of Appeal within the time given by the Federal Court. You all ada Federal Court kan? Cuba tengok kejap, Rule 56. Federal Court pula Rule 56. Entry of appeal. Okay, notice of appeal may be given by filing within the time limited for bringing the appeal. 6 copies of the notice of appeal in the registry of the Court of Appeal and a copy in the registry, and shall be done by paying the prescribed fees. Okay, dia kena ada 6 copies. Okay, and then so basically this is the requirement for bringing regarding notice of appeal at the Federal Court. Okay, cite Rule 56 of the Federal Court. Itu satu, notice of appeal done. Okay, next memorandum of appeal within 90 days. Again, Rule 18, 7, 7A, 7B of the Rules of Court of Appeal. Lepas tu, but to the Federal Court, you need to file the memorandum of appeal at the Federal Court within 90 days. Sama lah. Tapi dia punya nombor rule dia tu dengan Rules of Federal Court tu yang lain lah. Rule 57, sub-rule 6 of the Federal Court within 90 days of the date leave of appeal was granted. Basically, nak appeal to the Federal Court, you need to, Federal Court pula kena leave of appeal. Okay, kena ada kebenaran. And then last one is record of appeal to the Court of Appeal. Again, the same rule, 18, tapi nombor rule dia lain sikit 18 sub rule 4 and sub rule 7 file record of appeal in the court of appeal within 90 days. Okay, nombor dia 18 sub 4. Tengok sekejap. 18 sub 4 of the rules of court of appeal. Nampak tak apa beza 18 sub 4 ni? Masa dia sama je. Tadi kita tengok 18 sub 7. Ni kita dah baca earlier. Okay, all those document, memorandum of appeal, nature of appeal ni semua. All the documents daripada A sampai E. Okay, sub rule 7 tu 90 days, state the time, 90 days. Sub rule 7A again, all about the time, 90 days. But at the federal court is covered under rule 57 sub 4 and 57 sub rule 6. Sekejap, tengok rule 57 sub rule 4 and 57 sub rule 6. What does it say? Form apa? Apa nama form dia?
57 rule sub 4.
Sub
rule 4. Apa dia kata? Form dia nombor berapa?
Form 116. Form 116. Oh ya ke?
Federal Court.
Oh sorry, saya tak ada.
Form 5 ke doktor?
Ya, form 5. Okay, form 5. Dan dia kata form 5 in the first schedule to this rule. Rules tu maksudnya rules of the federal court. Ada tak form 5 kat belakang tu? Ada, tak banyak dah. Form 5 tu kat belakang, tengok of the federal court tau. Tu form 5 in the, dia punya title pun dah in the federal court, memorandum of appeal. It must be in form 5. Okay, so the within 90 days from the date leave to appeal was granted. Okay, and then for 57 subsection 6B. 6B tu apa? Apa? Cuba baca. Yang B tu, time dia ada computation of time. Within 90 days from the date.
From the date leave to appeal was granted in cases where leave to appeal is required.
Or within?
Or within such further time as the court may allow.
Okay. Tu beza dia dengan rules of federal court. Okay. Boleh. Itu baru satu procedural part and the documentation. And the details of the documentation, we can look at the rules of court and also rules of court of appeal and also rules of federal court. And the forms dia ada kat belakang for every rules. Okay, now isu kedua. Kita ada 7 lagi isu. 8 isu. Okay, conditions for appeal. Okay, kalau from the magistrate or session court to the high court is stated under section 28 subsection 1 CJA. If the amount is 28,000, 10,000 or less, there will be no appeal. Unless if there is any question of law involved. The case is Kanaya and Teh Sui Eng. If it involves payment of maintenance of wife or children, then there is a right of appeal irrespective of the amount. Walaupun the amount is 10,000, I mean less than 10,000, but it revolves the issues of maintenance of wife and children. Okay, you can get the.
Bukan kalau pasal marriage, bukan dekat high court kita akan mula. Yang pasal maintenance ni kenapa kita minta dekat subordinate? Saya tak jelas kat situ.
Dekat high court tu dia ada time limit dia tu. Dia ada limit tu. Ni for non-Muslim. Kalau kita syariah kan? Tapi high court tu dia ada, ingat tak ada belajar Malaysian legal system, you bawa case dia dekat high court tu when the amount is the claim or the award macam unlimited. Kalau when your property tu apa yang you nak claim, contohnya harta sepencarian or apa-apa yang tu yang more than, I terlupa. Session court is how much? Is the amount? Berapa? Dah ajar
Not
lah.
exceeding 1 million.
Not exceeding 1 million. Okay. You go. Session court lah.
Where the value tu lebih daripada 100,000.
Lebih
Tapi not
daripada
exceeding 1 million.
session court.
Yes, untuk civil jurisdiction.
Okay, civil jurisdiction. So when the property involved less than 1 million, Faiz Ashraf yang tanya tadi. So dia bring it to the lower courts, session or magistrate session lah. Dia nak dia nak berebut harta lah. Bila more than 1 million, dia will go to high court. So bila dia appeal against the decision from the subordinate courts, when it involve payment of maintenance, so basically they can appeal even though the amount is less than 10,000. Boleh Faiz? Bukannya semua orang ada harta sepencarian apa benda nak claim lebih sejuta. Kalau adalah orang kaya dia boleh pergilah ke high court for more than 1 million. Tapi when dia punya apa yang dia nak disputekan less than 1 million, they will go to subordinate court. You know why? Sebab apa tahu? Bila dia pergi high court tu mahal. Dia punya filing fees semua lagi mahal. Kalau subordinate court dia punya filing fees lagi sikit. And the lawyers cost involved is smaller. So that's why claim less than 1 million at the subordinate court for divorce, maintenance semua tu is still relevant. Boleh Faiz?
Boleh doktor.
Alright. So next is
Doktor. Sekejap, nak confirmkan balik. Tadi tu kita cerita pasal appeal daripada session court nak ke high court. Tapi parties tak nak pergi ke high court, dia nak appeal lagi sekali dekat session court tu juga ke? Yang doktor explain tadi?
Tak. Dia bukan nak appeal dekat session court. Soalan, you tanya pasal soalan Faiz Ashraf ke? Tak, Faiz Ashraf tu dia tanya kenapa kes tu instead of appeal from high court ke court of appeal tapi daripada subordinate court ke high court. Tu soalan Faiz Ashraf. Sebab kita selalu dengar kalau kes cerai mesti dekat high court kan?
Yup.
Tapi bila amount tu yang involve untuk golongan macam dia nak harta sepencarian, apa-apa harta yang dia nak rebutkan less than 1 million, dia will go to subordinate court. Imran, dekat subordinate court tak ada appellate jurisdiction. Kita tak boleh appeal dekat subordinate court, dekat magistrate, dekat session court kita tak boleh appeal. Kita appeal yang ada appellate jurisdiction ialah high court, court of appeal, federal court. Boleh?
Boleh.
So kalau you tak puas hati decision of the session or magistrate, katalah you court yang paling bawah lah, magistrate kan. If you're not satisfied with decision of the magistrate court, you don't go to session court. No. Sebab session court dia tak ada appellate jurisdiction. You go to high court.
Faham?
Ingat MLS, Malaysian Legal System. Kau tidur masa lecturer MLS saja kau?
Tak. Ada.
Yelah tu kau sampai lupa. Confused lah tu. Okay. Alright, so itu satu. Lepas tu High Court to Court of Appeal. Okay, there will be no appeal. So basically you can appeal to the High Court unless itu yang tadi Faiz Ashraf cakap tadi, section 68 subsection 1 Court of Judicature Act. Bila subject matter less than 250,000, consent judgment or consent order when it involve issues of course and when it involve final judgment on election petition. Election petition ni court mana? High Court ke Session? Ingat tak? Kau tak ingat lah. Nanti kau check sendiri. Malas nak ingat.
High Court rasanya.
Ya ke? Ada
Sebab
semua check.
Court of Judicature Act bukan cover High Court je. High Court kat atas je medium.
Ya, tapi dia bukannya cover, dia memang cover High Court dan ke atas. Tapi dia punya matters, kita cakap pasal petition tu apa nama, election tu kita buat dekat mana? Jurisdiction dekat mana? Nanti you
Saya
check.
tak tahu.
Rasa I pernah cover, I pernah terlupa. I rasa macam session court. Okay? Boleh? Next is leave to appeal. Kalau siapa yang tak ada kerja, kau check lah kejap petition for apa? Election tu court mana? I rasa session court. Okay? Leave to appeal. Page 898. Okay, so basically you need leave to appeal. This is stated under section 69, subsection A, CJA. Okay, when it involves a question of general principle which is to be decided for the first time, question of importance which would be a public advantage if it's decided by the federal court, and the decision affecting the constitution, including validity of any written law. Okay, ini you need leave to appeal. This is stated by section 96 ACJA. The cases Terengganu Forest Product, and then basically at this federal court level, the basic prerequisite that the federal court will consider. Okay, the list of appeal must be against the decision of the Court of Appeal, and then it must have been decided by the High Court exercising its original jurisdiction, and it must involve question of law not decided before. Sebab federal court ni highest court in the country, you know, you don't want to bother them with issues that have been decided by the higher courts like High Court and Court of Appeal. Okay, if the issue has been decided by the Court of Appeal, so basically leave will not normally be given unless if in cases of interlocutory appeal. Senang tengok buku Rabi Niko. If the interpretation of statutes, unless it is of public importance, okay, if it's interpretation of agreement, unless it is for the benefit of the trade industry, if it's involved answer the question is abstract or academic or hypothetical, and also leave may be given where there has been consistent wrong judicial opinion. So in these cases, the federal court may give, may consider in order to give leave to appeal. Ni ada cases dia. Okay, leave, when leave not be given, the matter ends at the Court of Appeal level, so there will be no further appeal. Okay, case Auto Dunia and Metramac, and also where there has been consistent wrong judicial opinion is in the case of Adorna Properties. Okay, stay of execution, section 73 CJA. So basically, you stay of the execution. This is covered by order section 73 and also order 55. Okay, you can read it on your own. The computation of time that I mentioned just now. Okay, 15 days lah, 30 days, 90 days, you must clear lah. How are you going to clear yourself? Tengok apa jenis dokumen dia. Notice of appeal, 15 days. Lepas tu apa lagi? Record of appeal kan, ada 30 days. And then last tu apa? Memorandum of appeal, 90 days. So the computation of time tu you need to remember. And also, what does it mean by months? Months means one calendar month. This is order. Rule 90 and Rule 123, Rules of Court of Appeal and Rules of Federal Court. And then the day in which the event happens must be excluded. Okay, any computation of time you need to read on your own. Okay, kalau the last day of the occurrence of the event is a public holiday, then the next day when the court registry is open will be the last day. Okay, parties can apply for extension of time. Okay, so these are among the factors that you need to adhere to. And then court also has wide discretion whether to grant extension of time. Okay, they can apply to court, and then it's up to the court whether to grant extension of time if you are running out of time lah, of 13, 15, 30 and 90 days. Okay, ni hearing of appeal, absence of one party, appellant does not appear, so basically the appeal will be dismissed. Okay, if respondent does not appear, the appeal will proceed in the absence of the respondent. Okay, memorandum of appeal contains it should actually contains ground of appeal, but appeal is confined to the grounds only, so it's important when you want to write the grounds of appeal tu sama macam pleadings kan, you are bound by your pleadings. Okay, sama macam appeal. Okay, but a point raised at the appeal stage but not raised at the court below will not be considered. Ni Veronica Lee Ha-Ling. Okay, ni ada issues dia. Exception is when there are facts submitted or proved to support the new point, then the court has discretion to consider it, or if the case so requires it. Okay, bila point raised at the appeal stage but not raised at the trial stage. Next,
sorry doktor. Sekarang doktor tadi baca ROC ke ataupun Judicature Act?
I baca dekat ni RFC. Buku surat 901. I baca 901 buku Rabi Niko. Atau I tengok chart dia.
Oh ya ke? Buku Rabi Niko.
Tak ada Kau tak ada Okay, I tell you what. Ramai ke tak ada ke I scan je these pages. I takut korang tak dapat gambaran semua. Nak tak I scan this memorandum of appeal punya part dia sebab dia macam pening-pening ke? Kau ada buku Imran?
Nak, madam.
Saya tak ada. Kawan-kawan saya bolehlah kot minta kat kawan-kawan yang ada. Kalau yang lain mungkin kat rumah tak sure lah.
Okay Imran, nanti I scankan part yang ni, part yang apa chart-chart tu sebab senang sikit kau nak tengok kan. Nanti kau kepala otak kau celaru dah. Okay, lagi satu isu apa tau? Fresh evidence at the appellate stage. Tadi kita cakap facts or points yang raised at the appellate stage, not raised at the trial stage. Now fresh evidence. Macam mana pula fresh evidence at the appellate stage? Okay, so basically you need to get leave, must get leave of the court. Section 69, subsection 3 CJA. Okay, so there are criteria for admitting fresh evidence, rules of court of appeal and rules of court. So basically, requirement dia, the new evidence was available during the trial, the full trial before, and then reasonable diligence would not have made it so available, and the new evidence had a determining influence upon the decision of the High Court. Ada case dia. So you need to have a discussion on that. Mungkin lah, I tak ingat. I rasa ni quite a favorite exam area kan. Dia selain daripada procedure, dia tanya, what if Ali want to introduce fresh evidence at the appellate stage? Discuss. Itulah. Okay, and then principle, ni basic principle of interference by the appellate court. Nanti kejap lagi ni I suruh my son scan, nanti I masuk dekat goals or masuk dekat my teams MS team. Okay, so basically ni general principle dia. Generally, appellate court will not interfere with the discretion exercised by the lower court. Case dia Ratnam and Kumarasamy. Okay. And also, appellate court will not interfere with the finding of fact made by the trial judge. Ada dua. Satu, with the discretion exercised by the lower court. Another one is the finding of facts of the made by the trial judge. The case is wasal construction. Okay. Yang first one is when they are not going to interfere with the discretion exercised by a lower court is unless is if the discretion has been exercised on a wrong principle and also there has been miscarriage of justice, and then the appellate court will interfere. On the second case, when the judge, the full trial judge, they have this advantage of getting the documentary evidence and also ada apa tau, examination of witness. Dia tengok ada cross ada cross examination, re-examination, examination in chief, semua tu kan. They have this advantage of seeing all this thing. Okay, so basically any findings of facts, the appellate court will not interfere, but the appellate court will only interfere if trial judge had misdirected himself. The case is Baldiusi, and also if there is a misdirection, contohnya apa? If there is insufficient judicial appreciation by trial judge of the evidence placed before the trial court, misapprehension of facts, if there is they apply wrong principles of law in coming to the conclusion, and also wrongful inference of facts. Okay, these are the cases when the appellate courts will consider themselves to interfere. And then the last one is orders. Apa powers of the court the appellate court can make? This is summarized under Section 69 and Section 71 of Court of Judicature Act. Basically, affirm the earlier decision, or they can reverse the earlier decision, or they can vary the earlier decision. Wah, macam bagus buat soalan exam . The powers, what are the powers or the orders that the appellate court can make? Tahun depan lah.
Tahun depan.
Yelah, selamatlah korang. Tiba-tiba rasa macam ada idea pula nak buat. Okay? Bagilah soalan senang-senang kan. Kalau tak kan segabut cakap, ya Allah, madam ni. Macam-macam dia tanya kita. Lepas tu nanti kau pergi tiaw kau punya nilai siap. Okay, sekejap apa lagi? Okay, ni last bit is lagi satu kan. You nak tak learn through questions? Learn through questions ni, I tak tahu boleh nampak ke sebab dia macam hitam . Kalau I scan warna hitam nampak?
Kurang jelas okey.
Tak payahlah, takut tak nampak. So basically learn through questions ni dia macam question and answer lah. Instead of chart dia ada question and answer, so kalau chart tu dia bagi kita punya mind structure tau, macam mana kita nak fikir or kita nak tengok procedural part. Tapi learn through questions ni macam sample question and answer lah. Cuba kita test kejap . Okay, what are the conditions of appeal from the magistrate court or session court to the high court? Apa yang boleh ingat? Basically what are the requirements for you to appeal from the subordinate court to high court? Ingat tak tadi?
Notice of appeal. Notice of appeal.
Notice of appeal tak. Isu-isu macam jumlah dan isu apa yang kita boleh
10,000 madam.
Itulah. Amount 10,000. Lagi apa?
Questions of law.
Questions of law. Lagi satu ingat tak I sebut pasal apa? Maintenance.
Maintenance wife and children.
Alright, good. Okay, next. Kalau session court allow a plaintiff application under order 14, and the defendant is dissatisfied with the decision and intends to appeal, what is the appeal procedure? They are not satisfied with the session court. They want to appeal to the high court. What's the procedure? Apa procedure dia?
Madam ulang balik.
Memanglah ni question and answer. Dia nak refresh
Tak maksud saya ulang balik soalan tu. Laju sangat madam.
Oh ya Allah, kau ingat aku tanya. Okay. if you are not satisfied with the order 14 decision by the session court, and then you intend to appeal, what is the appeal procedure?
Notice procedure order 55.
Order 55. Dekat mana? To which court?
Rules court daripada subordinate court to high court.
Okay, to the high court. Apa requirements dia? What are the documents?
Notice of appeal.
Notice of appeal, how many days?
14 days.
14 days. Lagi?
Form 111.
111. Lagi apa lagi? Ada notice of appeal, baru satu dokumen lagi?
Memorandum of appeal.
Okay, record of appeal, how many days?
1 month.
1 month. Order dia tu nanti you kena ingat lah. Kan? Okay. Next, what are conditions to appeal against decision of High Court to Court of Appeal? Apa dia? Kalau High Court nak bawa Court of Appeal, apa condition dia?
Claim less than.
Is it as of right or you need leave of appeal?
Kena ada list.
Okay, kena ada leave. Lepas tu, jumlah.
Less than 250k.
Okay, less than 250,000. Okay, so lagi, application for leave is dismissed. Can the dissatisfied party file an appeal against the decision to dismiss the leave application? Leave dia not granted. Boleh tak dia appeal against the leave application? Boleh tidak?
Boleh.
Boleh ke tidak? Tak. If application for leave is dismissed, there can be no further appeal. Case is auto dunia. Macam dia sebut lah tadi. Macam-macam kita sebut tadi.
Apa maksud further appeal?
Tak, dia sebenarnya nak buat appeal. Kalau ke Court of Appeal, you need to get leave of appeal kan? Kena dapat kebenaran. Tapi kebenaran tu pun dia tak dapat. Leave of appeal tu dia tak dapat. So boleh ke dia appeal di atas appeal? Faham tak? Dia bukan cross appeal tau. Dia kebenaran tu dia tak dapat, dia nak appeal atas kebenaran dia tak dapat tu. Boleh ke tidak? Tu maksud I further appeal.
Tak boleh. Law case auto dunia.
So auto dunia tak boleh. Sebab that's what has been stated lah by law. Tu maksud further appeal. Maksud dia further appeal to the leave to appeal yang not granted. Okay? Okay, lagi je stay of execution. Ada apa soalan tak? Okay. Can you, during hearing of appeal, a party not raising a point not raised in the court of first instance, can they do that? Can they raise a point that were not mentioned in the trial court before?
Tak boleh.
Tak boleh. Yep. Okay, generally tak boleh unless bila apa interest of justice to require. Basically tak boleh lah, tapi dia when interest of justice require, so they can raise a point not mentioned below at the below or lower courts. Can fresh evidence be adduced during appeal? Boleh tak?
General rule tak boleh, tapi exception.
Okay, general rule tak boleh except with exception. Apa exception dia ingat tak?
Section 69.
Alright, okay. Boleh tak? Tu isu-isu dia lah. The first part we have covered procedural and the second part on the issues. Boleh tak? Ada apa soalan lagi tak?
Madam, yang Madam cakap tadi yang black and white apa ni soalan belajar melalui soalan tu, Madam try scan dulu. Kalau kami dapat baca, alhamdulillah. Kalau tak dapat, tak apalah.
Okay. Nanti I ask my son to try scan Tapi basically dia short question and short answers. Tapi benda tu biasa orang kata, kalau satu problem or essay question, there will be part issues lah. Misalnya I tulis discuss on the admittance of fresh evidence during appeal. So baguslah soalan tu, you all tengok Q&A before. But basically kalau nak answer questions, sebab soalan banyak, jawab 4, soalan 6, jawab 4 So tengok markah, time yourself. So kata soalan ada 4, masa 3 jam. So satu soalan berapa lama? "45 minit. Korang ni budak law, kau mathematics law kau kira. Satu soalan 45 minutes. Boleh? Satu soalan ada A, B. So satu soalan 20 minutes and 25 minutes. You need to time yourself. Boleh?
Madam, dalam satu soalan tu ada campur topik ataupun satu topik whole?
Satu soalan tu dia ada A, B. So mungkin ada campur topik. Boleh? Kalau ikut I tak campur sebab pening kan. Tapi sebab kita ada vetting proses, so memang ada satu soalan campur topik. So kalau you jawab nombor 1 A, B, dua-dua bahagian A, B tu you kena jawab. Kau tak boleh jawab 1 A, 2 B, 1 B, 3 C. Siap kau? Jawab sekali tu. Boleh?
InsyaAllah.
Alah, buku dah ada kat depan kau. Ni, you need to. So satu soalan, kalau soalan 15 marks, you spend like 25 minutes. 10 marks, you spend like 20 minutes. Macam itulah. Dia quite challenging, but I think you can do it lah. Alright? Ada apa lagi soalan?
Madam, ini bukan kelas yang terakhir kan?
Tak adalah. Minggu depan kita kena cover course. Course tu tak adalah susah. Appeal ni dia complicated sikit lah. Tapi I tengok pakai Rabiniko tu senang sikit lah nak faham. Kenapa? Okay. Kenapa Faiz Ashraf?
Tak, sebab cara Madam cakap macam kelas akhir dah.
Tak adalah. Nanti I lupa next week tu. Lagi satu. Alah, dah tak sempat dah kita nak buat apa. Kalau misalnya consent judgment tu, kalau I tak sempat nak cover, I buat ni, you baca slide ataupun I bagi you page berapa lah you nak tu. Kalau I sempat, I buat recording. Kalau tak, kau bacalah notes dekat dalam, belum terlupa. I rasa dalam slide I ada, tapi mungkin not that banyak. So kalau kau nak jawab consent judgment, muka surat Hamid Sultan, enforcement ni 685. Cuba tik kejap, aku tulis sikit. Kau nak jawab consent order. I tengok soalan I suspend. Kau jangan tak boleh jawab. Okay. Consent judgment, dia muka surat, ni consent order. The effect of consent order. Ada banyak cases dia. Buku surat berapa? Siapa ada buku Hamid? Start daripada muka surat 688, 688. Boleh? Sampai lipatlah buku tu. Sampai siapa nak jawab ni? Consent order 68. Consent order ke consent judgement ke 688 sampai 695. Okay? Semua dah kat situ. Lagi? Any more questions? Tak ada. Apa kelas lain semua I tengok dia orang dah bergambar macam last kelas je. Kelas lain dah habis ke?
Probate dah habis dah.
Oh ya. Lepas tu next week kau tak ada kelas dah ke?
Seingat saya Dr. Azidah maklumkan macam tu tapi saya tak tahu lah.
Ada talk madam minggu depan.
Ada talk?
Talk, betul-betul. Kelas talk. Bukan by Madam Azidah tapi Encik Rafi'i.
Okay, CPC?
Masih ada lagi minggu depan.
Okay, so okay lah. Bank, okay lah. Okay lah kan. So next week is on course. Course lah. Course tu macam-macam course ada. Kau bacalah solicitors course ke kalau rajin. Tapi kita akan belajar semua jenis course. Lagi soalan? Tak ada.
Madam kami still lagi tak dapat record medan tajuk enforcement.
Tak dapat? Enforcement of judgment.
Enforcement of judgment.
Yang Ravi Niko punya suara tu. Dapat tak?
Kena rujuk yang Ravi Niko punya ke? Banyak medan.
Tak, yang apa voice recording tu I bagi yang Ravi Niko. Mr. Ravi Niko sendiri yang bagi lecture tu. Yang Syami upload dekat MS Team.
Okay, saya akan tengok. Saya terlepas kot.
I bagi Ravi Niko sendiri. Dia tak ada slide lah. You kena dengar je lah yang tengok buku. So Ravi Niko biasa dia refer dia punya buku. So you tengok je dia punya buku dia tu Ravi Niko tajuk Enforcement of Judgment. I nak buat tapi sekarang macam sebab dia praktikal kan. I cakap salah lah pula kan. So I ada letak dalam MS Team voice recording Ravi Niko dengan dekat dalam Ghost pun ada voice recording Ravi Niko. So you buat dengar talk Ravi Niko tu, bukalah buku Ravi Niko. Okay. So ada
doktor nak tanya. Dekat appeal selalunya kita ada lagi satu selain daripada interlocutory injunction, kita ada satu lagi minta order kan, nama dia yang Erinford tu. Erinford.
Appeal ke injunction?
Bukan ke Erinford tu adalah satu injunction supaya semasa kita melakukan proses appeal.
Oh, so maksud apa soalan dia
sejenis? Jadi soalan I, bila nak apply Erinford ni?
Oh, bila Erinford tu yang yang pasal copyright tu ke? Erinford tu satu jenis injunction kan?
Betul. Dia satu jenis injunction dan kalau tak silap I, this injunction semasa appeal.
Yang saya faham, refer injunction ni mula-mula kita minta injunction, injunction prohibitory interlocutory. Kemudian injunction tu tak di-grant, lepas tu di-appeal. And masa ni refer injunction tu cuba dimohon.
Oh, okay. Erinford ni ada dalam buku ni. Maksudnya dia satu okay, I baru faham apa maksud siapa nama Imran ni, injunction je injunction di apply 584 Okay, injunction untuk Erinford specific mandatory. Dia satu you kena tahu Apa maksud Eringford Injunction? Alah, tu Fortuna yang apa? Ya, yang pasal copyright tu apa nama je injunction dia? Confuse lah ini.
Copyright yang terpilih.
Eringford ke? Anthem Pillar.
Dia untuk macam search document.
Anthem Pillar tu yang copyright kan? Yang pasal copyright kan? So Eringford hari tu I ada mention tak? Imran, itu I ada mention tak Eringford tu? Kau tak mention?
I tak ingat lah.
Kejap. So soalan you sama ada Eringford tu apply masa appeal dia dah you apply Eringford, you apply masa appeal. Sekejap, I nak mengingatkan semula. Kojap. Sedangkan I serabut korang lagi lah. Macam-macam benda yang korang kena digest ni. Dia ada satu ni. Ada satu buku. Sekejap. Ni. Sekejap Junction. Page 271. Korang tak ada buku ni Tak adalah tu. Okay, Eringford kan. Okay. Eringford Injunction is an injunction granted pending an appeal of a decision to preserve status quo. So it shares a similarity with a stay of proceeding application. Betul lah, dia pending appeal. Betul lah, siapa nama? Imran, pending appeal. So memang nama dia Eringford Injunction.
Jadi kita apply tu bila? Sebelum kita filekan notice appeal ke? Lepas judgement ke?
Dia kata pending an appeal. To preserve the status quo is a stay of proceeding. So basically, maksudnya lepas full trial ke pending appeal Lepas full trial lah, kan? Pending appeal maksudnya sebelum you masukkan appeal. Sebab appeal tu maksudnya it will take appeal tadi berapa hari kita cakap tadi? Notice of appeal 14 hari kan? So you akan masukkan Eringford Injunction ke sekali lah. Sekali dengan appeal. Dia kata kat sini kes Subashini ni Federal Court dia kata Eringford Injunction pending of appeal or an application for leave to appeal is ordinarily granted by the court which made the decision this is the subject of the appeal. So the Court of Appeal has the jurisdiction to grant such an injunction pending an application for a leave to appeal to the Federal Court. So pending appeal maksudnya lepas full trial lah kan. Habis full trial, kalah, and then dia pending appeal maksudnya dia dalam masa dia nak appeal to the Federal Court lah, they will apply for this Eringford Injunction. Kalau benda tu cepat, dia nak cepat, contohnya property ke ataupun whatever ke, apa maintenance, custody ke apa, they will file it, boleh jadi, don't you think that they apply before dia masukkan notice of appeal? Sebab notice of appeal tu 14 days kan. I think it can be surely after full trial. Okay. Pending appeal, sebab appeal tu ada 14 days or 13 days, 30 days for record of appeal. So maksudnya sama ada sekali with appeal process ataupun sebelum dia masukkan notice of appeal tu. I rasa lah. Cuba you tanya ni. Okay, logik. Ni I fikir secara logik je tau. Sebab kalau benda tu urgent, I think dia masukkan terus. Dia masukkan terus, dia apply terus arraignment for injunction. Okay. Tapi kalau misalnya not so urgent, I think dia filekan sekali lah dengan notice of appeal dengan memorandum or record of appeal. Boleh?
Boleh. Thank you, Doktor. That's all from me.
Dengar tak?
Baru dengar. Tadi terputus.
Dengar I cakap pun kau dengar. I terlupa nak mute. Okay, so pending appeal lah. Kalau my understanding is kalau urgent dia masukkan terus lah. Kalau tak dia pending appeal, maksudnya before the hearing of the full appeal lah. In between. Sebab apa? Dia basically dia nak tahan lah daripada benda-benda tu. Contohnya pasal property, takut dia dah pergi ke negara lain ke, ataupun anak dia dah kena lari ke mana ke kan. So pending appeal lah, sebab appeal will also take some time lah. Cuma yang I tak sure adakah dia akan masukkan sekali masa appeal ataupun sebelum dia masukkan record notice of appeal tu. But I think dia akan buat sebelum, even they can do it before notice of appeal or maybe sekali dengan notice of appeal and all that. Okay, but you need to reconfirm lah, Imran. Hilang lah Imran. Nanti you need to reconfirm. Anybody can ask straight dengan practitioner. And then we can discuss it. Dia letak sekali ke dengan appeal ke ataupun dia do it before that, before due to the urgency of the matter. Boleh? Hello?
Okay, boleh.
Nanti kita make a note on that discussion before kita punya kelas next week. Alright, ada apa lagi soalan? Tak ada kan? Okay. So dah tak ada. Cuma dah senyap dah ni. So 4:20 is 4:20 already. So I hope we have a recording. Okay, good. So next week we are going to do a course. That will be our last class, and if we have time, we are going to cover a bit on consent order. And then otherwise, I think we are good for today. Anything you can ask me, and those who have not passed your assignment or midterm, you can do so. Okay, all the best. Assalamualaikum. Take care. Minggu depan kita buka skrin kita nak bergambar sebelum korang pergi AI. Good luck pula. Good luck. Okay, take care. Assalamualaikum. Banjir-banjir ni rumah.
Doktor pun take care.
Thank you. Amira di rumah. Kita punya recording tu macam nak stop kan, dah habis dah ni. Tak tahu mana nak tekan.